So to start off with, since the beginning of time, mankind has a tendency to exist in groups. He's lived in a group, although at some point in times he'd like to have his own seclusion and his own privacy and his own time, but at the minute where he felt there was a threat to his life or a risk, he would go back to his group. And also, to give you an idea of what you've seen before, let me show you this. So you've seen in the movie the coffee house of the Lloyds in London. Emerging from that idea, I want you to imagine today, if there was a marina with a coffee house with all the ship owners, and there was about 100 ship owners gathered together, discussing each day the trade, and they're waiting for their ships to come back safe. So at sea, there are many perils, as you know. You could have a storm where your boat can sink. There could be piracy, qarsani. So they got worried, but most of them were so happy when their ships came back home safe. Except for one person, his name was George. His ship didn't come back. He started getting worried. And then later on, it was confirmed. His ship sunk. So he was so sad and didn't know what to do. How can he afford to gather back up this money to invest and buy a boat? His friends thought this risk could have happened to any of us. So why don't we get together and help him out? And just to give you an example, I will make the numbers small. His ship cost $1,000. And his friends decided each one of them, in consent, equally, will give $10 to help out. And they gathered the $10, 100 of them, to make up the $1,000, gave it back to him, and he was so happy he could go back to his trade. And then John thought, but why wait till something happens? Why wait till a ship sinks? What if we didn't have the $10 today to give it to him? Why don't we get a box, bring a fund together, collectively share this amount, and put each one of us equal shares, like $10, before the boat goes out at sea and is at risk. And this is how the idea of insurance started, with marine insurance, with marine trade. And this is, by the way, well, the modern marine insurance started in London, but if you go back in time, you go back to, as you've seen in the movie, Babylonians, the Chinese, the Phoenicians. They were all traders, and this idea of collectively pooling together to help each other out has existed since a long time. I printed the seminar overview, so I will be talking today about what risk is, what is insurance, why do we need insurance in our everyday life, the categories of insurance, how is the insurance market divided, some of the principles of insurance practice, a bit of technical terminology, members of the insurance markets, who are the buyers, who are the sellers, emerging trends, bancassurance and online insurance today, and with the technology rise, where are we heading? So now you have a slight idea after my small story of what insurance is. The basic principle is to protect an individual, group or business against risks of financial loss by transferring the risks to a large group who agree to share the financial losses in exchange for premium payments. So the whole idea is transferring the risk. Instead of me sitting and worrying about my assets, I have a house that's $200,000 worth. I have a car that's $20,000 worth. And I have various belongings. If I'm going to sit and worry every day, they are all exposed to risk. My house can get set on fire. I can have a car accident if I walk out now from AUB and go on my way home. So in order for me to have a peace of mind, I'm transferring this risk to an insurance company by paying. So the risk to happen is uncertain, but what's certain is I'm going to pay a premium, which is what we call al-badal, a small amount to protect myself, that in case this accident or this loss occurs, they will reimburse me. So it's a written contract between two parties, the insurer and the insured, providing promise. It's a promise of reimbursement or indemnity in the case of loss, purchased by people concerned about hazards that they have made prepayments, the premium, to an insurance company for such protection. So I did a little schema for me to explain it. So we have two parties. The buyer who's buying the insurance is called the insured. And the seller is the insurance company. They are called the insurer. Together, they discuss and agree and sign a contract, which is called the insurance policy. So in insurance, the contract is called the policy, whereby there are conditions of cover. As the insurer, what do? I pay the small amount called the premium, which is it's a promise that in case a loss occurs to any of my property or to my health, then the insurer will promise to pay these losses and to return me to the state I was before the loss. Is it clear? Anybody has any questions? Yeah, okay. So we've already mentioned it's the characteristics of insurance. It's a risk transfer where there's a promise that if the conditions under the policies are covered, the insurer will pay. It's a pooling of losses. The losses of the few who suffer misfortune are met by the contributions of the many who are exposed to similar potential risks, like we've seen with the ship owner. It's a payment of fortuitous losses. What does fortuitous means? The loss is sudden, so it suddenly happens. It's in the future. It's accidental, and we don't expect it. Otherwise, we don't insure. If we knew something is going to happen for sure, we won't insure it. Indemnification means to restore the insured to the original financial position. What does it mean? It means if I have a car and I just bought this car brand new from the dealership and I started the engine, 2 minutes later I hit and had an accident. So just before I had the accident, it was a brand new car, correct? Then after the accident, I had, for example, my right-hand door was hit. The insurance company should return me to the exact position I was before. To my car. Risk, what's risk? It's uncertainty concerning the occurrence of a loss or event which might produce a loss. So it's the possibility of a financial loss, احتمال حدوث خسارة, which we're exposed to every day. It's the unpredictability about the future, like a lady mentioned before. So in insurance, it's a financial service. We're not providing a product, we're providing a service. It's a promise we are providing. We are in the business of risk, of perils and hazards. What are perils and hazards? A peril can be defined as that which gives rise to a loss. أو مسبب الخطر. For example, fire is a peril. Lightning can hit my house and then, for example, my TV is burned down. An explosion, a flood if I live by the river and then my house gets flooded once a year. So all those, fire, lightning, explosion and flood are called perils. What's a hazard? A hazard can be defined as that which influences operation of effect of the peril, what we call مؤثر الخطر. So they could be physical or moral. Let me give you an example. If I have a house that is made of wood and the roof is thatched, it has holes and it rains, obviously I'm going to have water damage in my house. So the water damage is the peril. The hazard is my thatched roof or the weakness of the construction of my house. Also, hazards can be moral. Negligence. If I smoke at home and then I throw the cigarette on the floor. So this is a moral hazard. What it's going to cause the peril is fire. It's very important to know how often things will happen. So the frequency of a loss. Like for example, in motor insurance, car accidents happen frequently. But an earthquake does not happen as frequently, but when it happens, it has a severe impact on so many things, on all of society. So severity is how costly it would be when it occurs. So when an earthquake takes place, you have hundreds of houses that can be destroyed. I'm going to give you an example of a house by the river. If I have a river and about 100 houses by the river, so I might have, as an insurance company, reported claims during the year, maybe 1 or 2 or 3. So I will have lots of claims. But what if there was a house that's further down from the river? It's on the mountainside, but it's $1 million worth. And if that house gets hit, then I have a severe claim. So this is how the insurance or insurers study the market. They look at how severe the loss will be and how frequent it might be, and according to that they will price it. Moral hazards is dishonesty that increase the frequency or severity of a loss because insured can profit from a loss. So there are some people who fake accidents in order to get reimbursed. There are some people who exaggerate the claim. Yani, my car gets hit, it's okay. It's fine. If you want to hit it even more, I'm insured. So, and also failure to control losses. A moral hazard if I leave my house and I don't lock the door and I get stolen. So this is a problem that we face every day. There's about $2 billion in the US of fraud in motor insurance. Yeah, sometimes they are reimbursed because there's no way to know. And for example, for an accident, if the person comes to me today and says, hey, my car was parked outside AUB, one of the students hit it, and I just came and I saw it, I will reimburse it. But I will not know if he was honest or not.
What if you know?
No, if I know, if I can prove it, definitely I will not pay.
They investigate.
They investigate. So hopefully if there's cameras outside, we can go ask maybe the campus security to show us the cameras, for example. Sorry. So why do we need insurance? Can anybody tell me?
Peace of mind.
To have peace of mind, yeah? Ah, I shouldn't have showed it to you. Other reasons why we need insurance? For security, to feel secure. Yeah, to minimize the loss.
Especially health.
Health insurance, because the cost of healthcare providers and hospitals is so high. All of this is true. So we need to bring peace of mind for the insured. So if you know, lots of Europeans and Americans, some of the insurances are obligatory anyways, and some are optional. But anyways, nobody drives a car without having insurance. Nobody walks without medical insurance. Nobody sleeps in their house without house insurance. So they know they have a budget every year, for example, this amount of $5,000 per year that I will be spending to protect myself so I can sleep peacefully and know that if a catastrophe happens, it's not going to affect me financially so badly. It's an asset protection, so I'm protecting all my assets. Sometimes it's required, like a bank. If you go to a bank and ask for a house loan, they will ask you, please, can you provide us with a life insurance and with the property insurance to protect themselves. It could be required by a landlord. If I decide to go rent a house, the landlord in the contract might ask me, please, I need an insurance policy. Or if they don't ask me, it's not required by them, they tell me, in the contract, you have to return the house the way it was I gave it to you. So in that case, if my wife forgot, if my husband forgot he was cigarettes on the floor, or he forgot something happens, I know that I can at least refix it. I know that if the insurance pays.
They take an amount of money, and at the end, they look at the house.
Mhm.
If it's not clean, they won't give you the money back.
It depends, we'll see. So, what are the benefits of insurance to society? If you think about it, when the insurance company takes these premiums, the loss is not going to occur today. It might not. So, if I collect these premiums today, especially in, for example, in life investment, I will not pay until maybe the person is 65, for example, if this is in the contract. So I have a large amount of time of having these cash flows which I can invest. So this is why insurance companies can build schools, they can build hospitals, they can invest in lots of projects. And at the same time, it's providing opportunity for employment. You have thousands of people employed in the insurance sector in Lebanon. Some insurance is compulsory. What does compulsory mean? Ilzami. So, for example, the motor third-party bodily injury is compulsory in Lebanon and most countries. Even material damage is compulsory in most countries. It is illegal to drive a motor vehicle on public roads or any other public place without insurance covering third-party bodily injury or death. So it's by law here, it's a decree. So it's protecting the public. Industrial entities are required to have fire and allied perils, public liability and workmen compensations insurance upon renewal of their industrial license. So if I'm a factory and I want to renew my license, the ministry will require these from me. And this is dependent on each country's laws. To give you an idea of some of the categories of insurance, I don't know if you've heard of it before, but for example, you hear in insurance P&C, L&H, what does it mean? P&C is property and casualty business. So protection for physical items such as houses, personal possessions, buildings, and protection against legal liability is casualty. Casualty يعني مسؤوليتي تجاه الغير. So تأمين المسؤوليات. Another division of insurance is life and health. Life insurance is a protection for the family in case if you have someone, for example, you have a family of 5, and if the father is the only one who is providing for this family, and if he passes away, then he ensures that there's a certain amount that the insurance company will pay his family to be able for them to survive, to be able to pay their schooling, their housing. Health insurance, medical insurance. Also, these are 2 lines of business you hear of. The insurance also divided in another 2 lines, personal lines and commercial lines. For property can be divided either personal or commercial. Personal lines are individuals who buy insurance or families, for example, house insurance. Commercial lines are businesses or organizations. So if I have a factory, I insure my factory. This is a commercial line. Insurance companies are also divided life and non-life. So if you look at the overview of the insurance market in Lebanon, you see it's about 30% of life insurance and 70% non-life. This is statistics from the ACAL, Association des Compagnies d'Assurance Libanaises. And it's showing you that the life insurance companies, they have a large share in the insurance market also. So when we speak of the products of insurance, we call them lines. It's a line of business. So if we can see an example here. Life insurance forms 30% of the Lebanese market, medical about also 29%, motor 23%. So to give you an idea of the lines, cargo, liability, engineering, fire, life, medical, motor, others can be aircraft insurance. The commercial lines, this is some of the example of the commercial lines. So if I have an office, if I have shops, I'm a retailer, I can insure them. If I have a factory, like a dairy production, like Ta'nail, they will insure their machinery, they will insure their raw materials, semi-finished, finished products, their warehouses. There's also in commercial lines, marine insurance, which is the hull and the cargo. The hull is insuring the ships for the traders. Cargo is actually insuring cargo al-badaya. So we're insuring the transport of the cargo, whether it's by sea, by land, or by air. As you can see in the picture, it could be by train, by truck. This is a huge container ship which can carry over 7,000 containers. By plane also, like DHL, Aramex. Engineering insurance is actually the construction of projects. So if you have like a construction of a mall like ABC Verdun, they usually would have taken, and most probably, a construction all-risk policy, which is covering all the risks while they are building, absolutely. And also the workman compensation means تأمين العمال. So while the workers are doing the projects, if an accident happens to them. Personal lines are lines for individuals and families, like each one of us. So it could be a motor insurance, homeowners, medical, life, personal accident, travel insurance that we can procure to protect ourselves when we are traveling. I'm going to give you a bit more details about the motor, homeowner, and medical insurance, because I believe many have asked me about them. So motor insurance is my vehicle. It could be my motorcycle, it could be my car, which I want to insure. I can have a third-party liability bodily injury, which I previously talked about. It's compulsory. يعني أنا, I don't know if we can use the, oops, use this. Sorry for my primitive drawings. So I have my car, and I'm driving. And there's another car, and we have an accident. So what can be covered? My own car, if there are damages to it, the car which I hit, so this is a material damage. It's a third party. The third party is this car for me. There's a person in it, if he got injured in the accident, or there was someone here who was walking on the pavement and he got injured too. So I need an all-risk policy for my car. This will cover my own damages. It would include a material, what we call material damage. MD is the destruction of the other car. And then bodily injury will cover the person here and here if they got hit. So whether they need medical help or any sorts of healthcare.
The compulsory covers this?
No, the compulsory covers only bodily injury to the third person. Passengers are in the car are covered under your all-risk, motor all-risks covering. So motor all-risk is covering your car if it's on fire, if it's stolen, if it gets damaged, and the passengers and driver are covered. So لا سمح الله إذا حدا توفى, death, or they have a permanent disablement, or they need to go to the hospital, they are covered under your motor all-risk policy.
Passengers in my car are not third party?
No, they are not third party. Third party are in the other car. But then again, you always hear all risk, or I hear it a lot here in Beirut, tout risque. So they tell me, can I have tourist insurance? I'm like, we don't have tourist. But just to know, when we say all risk, it doesn't mean everything. All risk, all risk means lots of risk except lots of other risks. So there are always exclusions to any policy. So now I'm telling you it should be covered, but maybe a policy from another country does not cover the passenger and driver. You have to make sure to sit with your broker, or if you go directly to the insurance company, you have to make sure to know what are the conditions of this policy and what's covered and what's not covered from the beginning.
What is two risks? We have to explain what is two risks.
What is two risk? Yeah, absolutely. So two risk is not all risk. It's covering fire, theft, hold up. If someone comes from a gun and steals your car, it's covered. If there's a total loss, if you have an accident and your car is completely broken, and we go to the dealership or to the garagiste and he says, well, it's going to cost me almost as much as a new car to fix it, then no, the company will pay you or give you a new car. So this is also dependent on each company. For example, in my company, it's 65%.
Which company?
I work for UIC. Okay. So as I said, it's very important to know what you are getting insured. So it's not enough to hear all risk. I want to know what this all risk policy covers. So I know when I get an accident, am I covered or not? I think we covered most of these. Yeah.
Shall I say very small tips?
Yeah.
Because I got the experience.
Yeah.
Especially if somebody is taking a car, a loan in the bank, make sure it's two risk and not total loss. Because one time we did a big accident, so the car went total loss. So they didn't pay. So the bank are taking the loan and I took the money from the car.
Okay.
So it's better to be two risk when you take a loan, not only a total loan.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So to give you an idea, what's homeowners insurance? Homeowners, so if I own a house or if I rent a house and I want to insure it, the main cover is fire, حريق, lightning, صواعق, explosion, إذا صار في انفجار من مثلا جرة الغاز, damage by smoke, earthquake, storm, tempest, flood, water and rain damage. So if I have my water pipes that explode and they cause water damage, if I get rain damage from outside, impact, اصطدام. So like for example, if my neighbor is bringing in new furniture and there's a truck and it hits my house, then it's covered. Impact can be aerial devices. Like if my house is near the airport and I get hit by an airplane, which did happen from before. Burglary can be covered under the homeowner due to forcible entry. So you have to prove that there was في كسر وخلع. Hold up can be covered. Cash in safe can be an option, but you have to state that I want to cover my safe and it has this much amount. And it should be, for example, embedded in the wall in a certain place. So all these are terms that you agree with your insurer. It's very important. It's not just, I just bought a home insurance. So I need to know what I'm covered and what I'm not covered. I can ask for additional covers. For example, rent payable, what does it mean? If my house gets on fire and I need to go and rent a house until I fix my house, they will pay me the rent. Accidental damage to fixed glass. If someone in the neighborhood is playing and they throw a stone and it breaks my window, then the insurance company can come and replace the window. Legal liability upon fire and explosion. If there's a fire in my house and it spreads to my neighbors and the source is from my house, then I have to also cover it. So the insurance company will pay. So health insurance. So what's health insurance? It's an arrangement with an insurance company that can help protect you from the high costs of health care. you know that hospitals, labs, radiology, everywhere you go is gone up. The costs are so high. So I need to protect myself. I'm just going to go through some of the points, some of the terminology that are on the insurance policy that a lot of people ask me about. We need to know what's the limit of the cover. So this insurance, how much is the limit per year per person? So if I have a family and then it says the limit per person per year is $500,000, it means each member has a limit of $500,000 for this year. There's some companies put a limit for a lifetime, like $1 million for your lifetime. This, also, you have to look at what's the territorial limit, or what we call geographical coverage. And is it covering me in Lebanon, in Europe, in the States, in the US, in Canada? Where is the cover? Some of the scope of benefits. Most important one is hospitalization, what we call inpatient. So if an accident happens and I have to go to the emergency room, this is covered. If I go in the hospital, it's called in. So in insurance terminology, when you hear what's in means in hospital. Out is the outpatient charges. So like if I need to go to a lab to do blood tests, if I need to go get a scan at a radiology center, this is the outpatient. So you can be covered only for in, or you can be covered for in and out.
Is it with doctor fees?
It all depends. So some companies will give you the doctor fees. Some companies cover the medicine. Other companies don't cover the medicine. So you have to know. And it's very dependent on also on the country. Some places there is obligatory from the Ministry of Health. It's relevant to each company and to each market. If we hear of categories or classes, we hear first class, second class, third class. What does it mean? Do you think third class, I'm going to get flowers and chocolates? There is. So the idea is exactly, it's all about how many beds in the hospital, very simply. It's about privacy. So first class, or we also hear now A, first class or plan A. What does that mean? It means that if la samahala something happens to me and I have to go in hospital, then I will be alone in the room. Second class, I will be with someone else. Third class are usually for the workmen, and there are like 3 in the room. But it's the same service, the same doctors, the same hospitals. It's all the same. The only difference is the privacy, is how many beds in the room.
The availability of room.
Absolutely. This is why they each have a cost. So if you're buying first class, it's different from buying second class. Yeah, definitely. It will affect the premium, for sure. What is guaranteed renewability? We hear here GR. What's GR? So GR is the insurance company is telling you, I guarantee I will renew for you, no matter what happens. There is usually a waiting period to get GR. So for example, if this is the first year I ever do insurance, health insurance, I will not have the GR. It's not until the next year that I have shown that I did not do this insurance policy because I have something and I want to benefit from it. We go back to the moral hazard. Then if this, for some companies it's 12 months, some companies 24 months, it depends. So once this waiting period has passed, I have automatic GR. It means that the next year, if I had something like cancer, the insurance company is obliged to renew with me. So it's very important to start getting a health insurance policy at an early age to get this GR, to get continuity. So it really depends. The waiting period, what we call pre-existing disease, it means you have to make sure that you don't have something already that you know you are going to operate and you go buy an insurance policy. So there's usually this waiting period. Once the waiting period passes, you are automatically covered. Co-insurance, I don't know if you've heard about it. Sometimes you see 15%, 85% on the medical card. What it means, it's a percentage on the outpatient charge. So it's basically, let's say you are going to do a blood test and you have to pay 100,000 Lebanese liras. Then it tells you 15% co. What does it mean? It means you have to pay 15,000. This is just put for people not to misuse the health insurance, not to overuse it, basically. So it's not every time that I feel that I need a checkup, I will go do a lab test. So that's basically, I just went over actually the terminology that everybody asks on the insurance policies. But you have to always, always know what are the exclusions for a medical policy. It's very important to sit and discuss it with your broker, with your insurer, because there are so many things that are excluded. There are things you can add with an additional premium. For example, plastic surgery is always excluded.
This GR is very important.
GR is definitely very important. You must have it on every
I
policy.
don't know if I have.
You should ask. But most probably, if you've been with the insurance, have you been with them for, yeah, you have the GR. And what does continuity mean? If we hear here a lot of continuité, what it means is if I was with an insurance company and, for example, I moved countries, so I go to this new insurance, I tell them, but I was insured for 3 years with Allianz, for example, in France, then they will give me, they will waive, they will take out the waiting period.
Oh.
Okay, so this is continuity.
Is GR right? Is GR right or is it grant?
It's a grant, sorry?
Is it your right?
It really depends because each insurance company, I will go ahead, you will see it with the, I will explain about the insurance market and we will come back to this point. Catastrophes are what insurance companies also can cover. And those are, like we talked about, very severe and can have a huge impact on the whole economy, like hurricanes, the newest hurricane in Florida, absolutely. They keep having, Katrina was huge, tornadoes, Puerto Rico's, tsunamis. Tsunami is an earthquake in the sea. So this is the difference between the tsunami and the tidal wave. Man-made catastrophes are terrorism, like September 11, the World Trade Center, like wars that are happening in the Arab Spring.
Are these covered?
Okay, so most policies are not covered. War and terrorism is excluded. But this is what I'm coming to. There are other kinds of insurance. You can ask for political violence insurance. You can ask for passive war. It's costly, but there is a market for it. And it's being asked so much. Like most of the malls have political violence insurance. Most of hospitals, large institutions, they do have. So you have to ask for it. Even a personal accident insurance, you can ask for an extension of passive war. Passive war means if you don't act in the war, you are just a citizen, and something happens, a terrorist attack or something, and you are there and you get hurt, it will be covered. The same thing for cars. A war is not covered, but if you ask for it, maybe this is funny, but a lot of people say, is this insurable, is this not? I will tell you one thing. Yes, so many things are insurable, as we've seen, because there's so many things at risk. It's just there's a cost for each one of them. There's fine art also nowadays with lots of private collectors. Their paintings, valuable antiques, jewelry, furs, all of these can be covered under a fine art, what we call all-risk policy. We can cover also their transport. For example, if I have an exhibition at Sotheby's, I can insure my paintings at home in Lebanon, their transit. So while they are being transported, if some damage happens to them, I can insure them at the exhibition and on their way back. Yeah, go ahead.
What if they are part of the household furniture?
Okay. If they are part of the household furniture, you have to mention them. And they are at an agreed value. So what the insurer will tell you, can you please provide me with a list? Usually you send them a list. For example, I have Persian carpets for this much, jewelry for that much, and my paintings are for this much. So it's an agreed value. And usually if it's a small percentage amount of your whole contents, because when you insure a house, you insure the building, which is كل شيء ثابت, يعني everything you're going to rebuild, including the lighting, gypsum, and you cover the contents. So if I have like a contents of $1 million and I have a painting of $5,000, they will include it in the policy for free. But if I have lots of paintings that are valued are like $500,000 out of the contents, that's half of the contents, no, they will have to be under a special policy. So it depends on each insurer. This is a bit more technique for some of the people who are interested. If it's too technical, then we can skip it. But it's just to give you an idea. So what can we insure? You have to have an insurable interest. I cannot go and say, my neighbor has a beautiful red Ferrari, I'm going to insure it. If it gets stolen, I'll get $100,000. Or now you see ABC Verdun, it's saying, I'm your true neighbor. Okay, I'll insure the mall, and if there's an attack on the mall or something happens, there's a flood, I'm gonna get all the money. You cannot do this because you have to have لازم يكون عندي مصلحة بالشيء اللي عم بيتأمن. Absolutely. So I have to have the legal right to insure arising out of a financial relationship recognized as law between the insured and the subject matter of insurance. Subject matter is what you're insuring. So I can insure my house because I live in my house, I own my house, I can insure my car, but I cannot insure the neighbor's car. It's called مبدأ المصلحة التأمينية. Another very important principle is utmost good faith. What does utmost good faith mean? It means that I, as a buyer, and the seller, we should be very transparent. And we should tell each other, this is the risk. I shouldn't hide any facts. So I cannot insure a warehouse that has fireworks in it and not tell the insurance company. I cannot insure my house, which is above a gas station, and not tell the insurance company. Because there's a risk of explosion, there's a risk of fire. At the same time, an insurance company also should tell you what's covered and what's excluded. So it's mutual. It's a positive duty voluntarily to disclose accurately and fully all facts material to the risk being proposed, whether requested or not. So usually there's a proposal form. في طلب تأمين. So أهم شيء لما بنعبي طلب التأمين نكون صريحين. It's the same thing with health insurance. If I have a heart problem, I should mention it. It doesn't mean they will not take me. But maybe they will take me at a premium, but if something happens, I was honest to them. Well, if I don't disclose, then there is...
They will not cover.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are material facts? It's every fact or circumstance is material which would influence the judgment of a prudent insurer in fixing the premium or determining whether he will take the risk or not. So based on the facts you give me, I can assess the risk and decide if I want to take it or not, of how to price it. For example, for fire insurance, we need to know what's the construction type of the building. Is it made of cement? Is it made of wood? Is it a prefabricated? The factory, if it contains combustible material. It could be a wood factory. They have glue, for example. But I should know that they have glue. If the warehouse is near a river, I should know there's a high risk of flood. So it's called مبدأ منتهى حسن النية. هي الشفافية, basically. It's to be transparent, to disclose everything, to say it before the contract. And even if something happens during the year that can change the risk, to disclose it to my insurer. So I can call and say, by the way, a gas station opened right under my house, just for you to know. So your duty is to disclose, and their duty is to be informed so they can make sure that you are covered. Proximate clause is what we call, it's actually the main cause that led to the peril. So it's the active, efficient cause that sets in motion a train of events which brings about a result without the intervention of any force started and working actively from a new and independent source. I don't know if I have the... So it's like a domino. If someone was cooking and they forgot the food on the stove, and then it caused a fire, and this fire caused smoke, and there was wind, and this smoke caused damage to the third house, then what was the initial cause of the smoke on the third house? The cooking, exactly. That's the fire that was set in the first place. So this is very important to know because, for example, if an explosion happens, a small explosion in the house or an electric circuit, and then it caused fire, the peril is not fire, it's the circuit. So I have to go back to my insurance policy and check, was it covered? This is this is a very important principle in insurance. So you hear someone saying, I bought an insurance policy and this insurance company, they didn't pay. Okay, they didn't pay, but you have to look, what was the proximate cause? Was it covered? Was it stated? This is the most important thing. So you have to know what you are covered. It's called السبب المباشر. It's the main reason that caused this peril to happen. Indemnity, we've mentioned before in the definition of insurance, it's the reimbursement. It's the financial compensation sufficient to place the insured in the same financial position after loss as they enjoyed immediately before the loss occurred. So there's no gain and no loss. You are back, they put you back to the state you were before the accident happened. Not all policies, of course this is only for the P&C policies, because not all the policies are indemnity. Some are benefit policies like life policy. يعني الحياة ما بتتقدر بثمن. So it's a protection for the family, and you can do multiple insurance policies. This is the only line of business where you can do multiple lines. But like for example, a car insurance, I cannot insure my car at Arab and then go to Libano Suisse and insure it. And then it gets stolen. I go get reimbursed from here and there. So if my car costs $20,000, I come back with $40,000. This is not insurance. The only exception is in the benefit policies, like the life policy. You can have multiple life policies. So you can have a loan at a bank. I have, for example, a house loan, and they asked for a life insurance policy for $10,000. I went the next day to an insurance company and I bought a protection for my family for $100,000. So I can have multiple insurance policies for life insurance. So indemnity is only for the P&C lines. Reimbursement is how will they pay me back? If I had like my accident with the car, they can give me a check to repair. I can take the car, for example, to the garage and repair it there. That's called repair. Replacement is like my example of the stone that hit the window. They will replace it with a new window. Or there's something called reinstatement. They rebuild the building. And this you find more in the West, where there's large projects, and if there was a huge fire, the insurance company has enough cash flow to invest and go in and construct itself and return it to the way it was before. So the insurance is a market. Like any business, there are buyers and there are sellers. There is demand and supply. Who are the members of this market? The buyers are me and you. They are what we call the policy holder. He holds the insurance policy or the insured. It could be a person or a company, an individual, a family can buy health insurance, a private or a public company like a school. A school can do an insurance for all the students and the teacher, personal accidents. Commercial or non-profit. Non-profit could be an association or a club, like a football club. They will insure for massive amount their players. Intermediaries are brokers or agents. وسطاء التأمين. So I can go to a broker who knows well the market, who knows various companies, who knows the prices, and he can give me advice of which insurance policy to take. I can pay him, he will pay the insurance company, and if there's a claim, he will, on my behalf, talk to the insurance company and do the negotiations. The seller is the insurance company. They are selling their service. There is also reinsurance. So these are the backers, what we call. They back up the insurance companies. They provide further means of spreading the risk. So what does it mean? It means that an insurance company can go, they are the client of the reinsurance company. So they go and do reinsurance. هي إعادة التأمين. Why? Because they don't have enough capacity maybe. Like for example, if I want to insure an oil rig and I don't have the capital, but I can take a share in that oil rig. And then I can go to a reinsurance company and insure my portfolio of business. It's protecting their portfolio. So like an insurance company has a huge portfolio, large businesses, and they can protect these businesses too. So this is just to give you an idea. So as a buyer, I could be the insured, going to a broker in town who will go to an insurance company and get me my homeowner's insurance policy. And this insurance company has a reinsurance agreement which backs up and protects it. So in case I have a loss, I will have also the support of a reinsurance company. So to go back to what you asked about the GR, most companies, the medical insurance is reinsured outside. So whether it's various reinsurance companies, and they put also their conditions. So if the reinsurer is offering GR, then the company will offer you GR. Mm-hmm.
What I'm asking is, if I have been to the insurance company for 3-4 years,
Sorry, we have
can
to
I
give
take
the
the
microphone.
Oh, we have to give you the mic. Okay, so we'll leave it till the end. No, we'll leave it till the end. Okay. So I'll go very quickly. Just underwriting is just how insurance works. So you go to the insurance company, you fill a proposal form, طلب تأمين. You disclose all the important information. They study, they assess the risk. So they look at the risk and they decide what's the premium and what are the conditions in discussion with you. Once the negotiations are done, it is signed by both parties and both have a copy. It could be an all-risk policy. All risk means everything you can imagine except, and it says except this, 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 and that. So you have to read all the exclusions. Or it could be a named perils. Named perils, يعني بيعينوا لكم كل خطر. So you are insured for fire, for the house, fire, lightning, and water. So it's specific and that's it. You are not insured for anything else. So it's very important to look at the exclusions in all cases. Just a brief idea, the trend of the market nowadays, how insurance is being sold is through banks. What we call banque assurance, it's very popular in Lebanon. So you go to the bank and you're opening an account. They offer you, if you like, to do a schooling policy for your daughter or granddaughter. It means it's a protection to pay for the schooling years and for the university, for example. It could be a small policy, a term life policy for $12 a year. So they will take from your bank account $1 every month. It's like putting your phone bills there. So there's an easy payment system with the banks. There's also now a new trend, like online shopping, and since this is a business, there's online insurance. So you need a fast and reliable internet, which is slightly a problem in this part of the world because we have slow internet, electricity cuts, so I might be buying and I'm not sure if I bought the policy or not. So hopefully this is a problem because we lack internet access. Not everyone has internet access. The infrastructure is costly. Not everyone has laptops. But nowadays you can buy online from your phone, from your iPad, so you have to be just connected to the net, and you go online and you shop for your policy and you get it in 20 minutes maybe. So it's getting faster. So with the rise in technology, there are so much technology is such a fast pace, we don't know where we are heading. But insurance is proactive. And like you saw, there was space insurance in the movie. They insure the satellites. So nowadays, we're talking about cyber risks, all these clouds where you save your information on the cloud. And there's a problem with the privacy, with the security breaching, with all the liabilities. Who is responsible? Autonomous robots. Now we have robotics in the house. You have a new Hoover that walks all over. You have self-driven cars. I don't know if you assisted the self-driven cars class. Yeah, like the Tesla. So the Tesla is driving. You own the car, but you're not driving it. There's no driver. You're sitting in the car and it's driving alone. If it hits, the problem is who is liable? You're not driving. Is it the company that manufactured it? Or do they have a guarantee only for 1 year? Is it the GPS system it's linked to? And there's drones. I don't know if you know what drones are. It's you've seen at the weddings. Is the little, yeah, exactly, automated with a camera. So drones are now a new technology, restricted to many countries, except for some countries it's only for the military allowed to use them because also of breach of privacy. It can go anywhere. They are everywhere now, in all kinds of technology, because the drones, they can go at sea. Now they have new drones that look like, you know, the helicopters that go at sea. They can be used for anything, basically, to transport things even. You know. So other than only filming events, they are used for multiple things. And now this is new. It's a new technology, and now insurance are thinking we need to insure it. So the idea is to work proactively and to embrace technology. So this is why insurance is going online and using the internet. And they're using social media for marketing, like Facebook, Instagram. Yeah. So it's a new world, and we have to adapt to it. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed it. Travel insurance. You'd like to know about the travel insurance? Okay. Travel insurance is also under the personal lines.
I just need to know about the travel.
Yeah. There are various, like I spoke, geographical coverage. So you can buy a travel insurance only for the Middle East. You can buy one Schengen that is required by many embassies for the visa. Or if you are going to Europe, you can buy Schengen, even if it's not required. If there's a worldwide plan which can cover... Yeah, sure. Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. So there's a worldwide plan, and you have to check. Worldwide does not mean worldwide. It can exclude, some of them exclude USA or Canada. So you have to make sure you know what's the cover. What it's covering you if while you are traveling, if you get an emergency. So it's not a medical insurance. You know, if you are there and you feel you got sick and you want to go to the doctor, it's not covered by travel. What it covers is really accidents. So if you had a major accident or that you need to go in hospital, this is what travel insurance covers. It's varies. It can include liability. It includes if you lose your luggage, it can compensate you. Some of them, if you lose your passports, it will help you at the embassies. If you need a lawyer, it will pay for it. You really have to check each one what the cover is.
the question about renewability.
Yeah.
If I've been with a
Company.
company for several years
Yeah.
with medical insurance,
Yeah.
can the company come and say to me, we will not renew it?
They can if you don't have guaranteed renewability on the policy. Yes.
So this has to be stated? ahead
Yeah,
of
it
time?
has to be stated in the policy.
About senior citizens, full coverage of health insurance. It seems like it has become a pandemic worldwide, that those are seniors, the hell with them. Is there a hope for them to have sooner or later a complete health insurance coverage?
It's definitely dependent on each country and each government, and lots of people are lobbying for it. For example, now you have the UAE, it's mandatory to have health insurance. So it really depends, and I hope so. I really hope that each country's health sector and ministries and fight for health insurance.
And there is good news as well.
The GR, excuse me, it's my turn. The GR, you said that anybody who has so many years, it should automatically be renewable.
No, if it's in your policy, you have to request to have a GR. If the waiting period depends on the company, if a company tells you 2 years, so after 2 years, you get granted GR. Or after 12 months, you get GR. If you get GR, it means the company has to renew with you, but it depends on the premium.
If you don't know about it and the company takes advantage, because my friend, she was insured all her life.
Yeah.
When she went for an operation, they paid it. She had to go to another operation, they canceled her insurance.
It really depends what's the limit per year. There's a limit on out. So it means if you go out of hospital, maybe your policy has a limit, $3,000 per year, and maybe you went and you used it.
Yeah.
So really you have to look at the cover from the beginning.
When you have companies insurance, exactly. But when you have companies insurance, like the medical syndicate insurance, and you have these doctors who are allocated for these companies to approve or disapprove.
No, this is called the TPA. You mean the third-party administration.
What do you mean?
There are companies.
You have an insurance with the Gulf medical insurance.
Yes, but some companies, they outsource because medical insurance is not simple, it's complicated. You have to go through a TPA.
So what are we supposed to know? It pertains to so many people.
But one question per person, please.
You can answer at the end.
Yeah, sure.
I have a son who had kidney problems, and so he was the first time hospitalized, and he had all the patient, what any patient needs. And then since then, he could never have insurance on if he has a kidney problem. They will never let him go into the hospital because of a kidney problem. Is that fair?
Was it covered at the? They covered the first year, but it depends on how much the limit of each company. One company can these are called chronic disease. They are ongoing, and it depends on how much is the limit on chronic disease, and it depends on the regulation of each company.
It's not fair. He has no other problems but this kidney problem.
They might put a limit on it or exclude it. You mean it's completely excluded? It really depends on what was the agreement on the cover in the first place. You're welcome. Sorry, but medical insurance is not my domain. I work in property insurance.
We heard about the AIG, American Insurance Group in America, and there was a lot of big talk about fraud and making so much money. what is the nature of fraud in insurance companies? What can be considered as fraud?
You mean for the insured
Yeah,
to have fraud like in car insurance? What's considered fraud?
whatever, AIG was notorious in America for being fraudulent.
You mean the company for being fraudulent? It depends on in which sector. Do you know the case? Which case it was? It has to have a case in you. Under which sector was it? Because I'm not aware of the exact details.
I mean, can we have insurance against insurance companies?
Insurance against insurance company?
Against insurance.
No, not usually insurance unless they are co-insuring. They are sharing a risk.
Yes, it's a little awkward question because all the Lebanese who live abroad and come back to live in Lebanon, apparently after the age of 65 they cannot do insurance for you. Is that true?
It's usually yes. If you haven't been insured, it depends on the company.
Yeah.
Some companies, like I said, it's not only the regulation. Most companies in Lebanon have a reinsurer for the medical insurance, like Hanover Re, Swiss Re, Munich Re. So it's the conditions of the reinsurer. In contract, they are covering you, but they have a much larger contract with that company. Because these companies, they set the regulations. And it depends on their agreement with their reinsurer. So if their agreement with the reinsurer is up to 65, and if you are a new client, you weren't with them, they can refuse you because it's not in their conditions. Like we have a contract, the insurance company and the reinsurance has a contract. And they also have rules. So this is why they tell you, but if you were insured with them from before, they continue with you after 65.
Problem if when you live abroad you come here for settlement.
Yeah, you ask for continuity.
65 they will not accept.
You should ask for continuity if you were insured non-stop. If continuity, you shouldn't have stopped at any time. It means like if you were living in a country and you stopped for a year, or you've been here and you didn't get, it has to, your medical card expires at a date. If your medical card never expired, you didn't stay without insurance, then you can ask for continuity and try to convince them to. So you tell them, I was insured for the past 10 years, non-stop, and my insurance did not expire yet. I want to renew. And they will look at the insurance policy you already have. But many of them will not take at 65 because they consider it's a high risk for them. If you were insured before, they consider it as a moral agreement that I took you for these years, I want to take you. For some reason, yeah, it's not. But at the same time, if you look at it, no, at the same time, if you look at it honestly, most insurance companies, we spoke, there's various lines, but the lines of business like motor and medical, the insurance company loses money or breaks even. You have in the medical insurance, if you have 100% loss, is very common. And what the insurance compensates, they have a portfolio. So like we mentioned, fire insurance, homeowners, there is less risk. So this will balance. So most companies, their medical is at a loss 100%. And the motor can be with large losses. But what makes up is the transport insurance, the property insurance.
I just want to say something. I'm here.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm a golfer. So at golf, there's something just to change from medical and something like this. We have hole-in-one.
Okay.
So when you hit the ball,
Yeah.
immediately it went into the hole, which is something
Rare.
Very rare, yes.
The probability is low.
Yes, it is very rare, but it happens.
Okay.
So usually they make insurance for this hole-in-one because you have to open champagne for everybody. So it costs millions. So we make insurance for hole-in-one golf club because if somebody did it, I think he will get heart attack because we have to open for everybody. So this is something just to change the medicine and all these things. I want everybody to know there is insurance for hole-in-one in golf.
In golf. There's actually insurance for so many things.
Yes.
Bruce Springsteen is insured for his voice. Jennifer Lopez is insured for you know what, for her bottom. So you have some golfers that insure their hands, tennis players, and the insurance market. You have the Lloyd's market. It's a market where you go. It's like the stock market in London. And it's a huge building. I don't know if some of you recognized it in the movie. And then you can walk there with almost anything like this, and you walk and you offer it, and someone will tell you, no, we don't insure this. So this is, again, it depends on each company, what they insure and what's their policies, and others will take the risk at a cost. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
بس بصير في زعل لما بصير في
أي بس أنا حجاوبها